Hello.
Hi. Okay, sorry. I think I need to exit out of I have the Twitch stream open on my other tab. Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Welcome.
Cool. Hi, Liz.
Hi. You're here to tell us about Degrassi.
I am. So I'm here to talk about Degrassi. Sorry, my lighting sucks. I'm here to
Oh, we lost.
talk about Degrassi, which is it's one of the less embarrassing things that I know a lot about. Actually, I got recommended like a YouTube video recently that was like
Hmm. Oh no, we're losing you. Sarah? Oh no. Sarah, you're frozen. Can you hear me? Oh,
okay.
okay. Hello. Sorry, we lost you for a
All
sec.
Oh, sorry. I might have like bad internet up here. I'm gonna just try exiting out of the Twitch stream in case it's making it weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So Degrassi uh ran for 14 seasons. This is Degrassi colon the next generation. And eventually I think around like season 7 they had just dropped that to Degrassi, and then after those 14 seasons it switched to being a Netflix like original, and that's when it was Degrassi Next Class. So if you count Next Class, which I do, then it was 18 total seasons, which is pretty amazing for like a teen drama. And Degrassi Next Generation was a spinoff of Degrassi Junior High from the 80s, which was like a similar, it was like a very kind of like TV show of the 2000s where it's just like following kids at a high school, and like sometimes like they're rich, but mostly it was just kind of like ensemble cast, like they have these really strong archetypes that you'll actually notice if you keep watching the show. They just begin to repeat them like every few seasons. So, like, the main character to kind of start the show is Emma, who's the daughter of one of the characters from the original, and her best friend Manny, so it's kind of like the good girl, bad girl, I guess, type. And actually, people get put a lot of hate on Emma, but I personally find her a lot more bearable when she's actively kind of an annoying, like tree hugger type character in the beginning of the show. She gets a lot more bland later on. Once they started giving her plots that were sort of only around like love interests. But anyway, they just follow this formula of like, kind of starting with a group of friends, and usually they'll be chronicling different grades. So one thing that Degrassi does really do really well is they will kind of like ease in new characters as the seasons go on. So you'll start, I think when the show starts, you're following two grades, the like seventh and eighth graders. And then as the show goes on, like, they'll have the new grades join, and characters that like enter as freshmen will kind of have really minor plots their freshman year. So that way, by the time the characters you care about have graduated, the like new characters will be phased in enough for you to kind of care about them. Um, in terms of, and then they always will usually have like one big event at the end of the season. This is one of the things that I like always think about when I'm watching is Degrassi is so overfunded as a school because they are constantly having like dances,
Yeah.
like, like they do like multiple plays a year, and something catastrophic or like notable always happens at it, but it does not seem to have any effect on it. I think my favorite like weird kind of event they have is I don't know if it's like the Vegas night dance. I did just rewatch this, so it should be fresh on my mind, but I like had started watching Degrassi when I was in high school with my brother, and then I'd watched all of it. I watched like the new episodes of like Next Class up until they stopped airing, which I think was like 2016. And then this past year, I like started rewatching from the second part of season 11 because that's my favorite half season of Degrassi.
Why? Tell us why. Why is it your
Why? Okay,
favorite?
it's my favorite because it really showcases and features my favorite Degrassi character, Fiona Coyne, who is the best written lesbian character on Degrassi. I'm sure they did not intend her to be a lesbian when they started the show out, but like I feel like all of the kind of good Degrassi character development tends to happen by accident.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's my favorite because it's really Fiona centric. It has like a really great slow burn of how she gets together with her girlfriend Imogen. Um, and then like I don't know, there's just other elements of it I like. It okay, it's also one of the only seasons where one of my pet peeves for teen TV is when every character on a high school campus is dressed for different weather. Um,
Oh, that.
and
Whoa.
Degrassi,
Sorry, that's a great revelation. Continue.
yeah, once you start noticing it, it's really hard to stop noticing it. And Degrassi is like a particular offender with this because it takes place in Canada, but we hardly ever see characters dressed for anything other than like spring. And because they want to have like a plot relevant event in season 11, which is like a winter carnival, then they are forced to like recognize seasonal changes. And I really like that aspect and think it kind of adds like a nice like holiday episode air to it as well, I think. And also Fiona's mom gets arrested for insider trading, which is really funny. Um, just like a little bit more. Sorry, this is going to be a really disjointed
No, this
presentation.
is
It's
great because I've only watched some Degrassi.
okay.
So,
Yeah, I'm happy to recommend or like give my takes on like which parts are worth watching because some seasons are really hard to get through. Um, but like a little more on Fiona. So Fiona and her twin brother Declan are introduced in season 9, and this was around the time that Gossip Girl was really big. So Degrassi like loves to try and like take things kind of like culturally like from the headlines or like whatever's popular. So adding Fiona and Declan was kind of their attempt to add like Gossip Girl characters. Declan's kind of like the wannabe like Chuck Bass type character, and it doesn't work. I mean, they're like they feel really out of place. They're like these super rich twins from New York who's their dad's like a diplomat. I think it's like very ambiguous, and they also have really strong Canadian accents but are like supposed to be from New York. um
sorry.
and they're just like really absurd characters. It also leads to Degrassi Takes Manhattan, which like Degrassi has two, I think, movies. They have a couple that are like TV specials. Basically, the Degrassi movies you can just like watch as normal episodes, and it'll be 4 episodes, but then you can also like watch them straight through, and it's supposed to be a movie. So the first one is like I think Degrassi Goes Hollywood. That one's really bad. It really like kind of flushes all of Paige's character development down the toilet. Craig and Ellie get together, which I always thought that was like a bad pairing. And then like it ends, I think, with Manny like singing to like it's like a very like camp rock kind of ending. Manny's like singing to this huge crowd. And they bring back Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, who are like one of the weirdest and most ongoing Degrassi celebrity guest stars. They have a whole plot centered in I think season 3 or 4 around like them making a Jay and Silent Bob movie at Degrassi.
That's.
And part of the reason for this is because like some meta knowledge I guess on it is that Kevin Smith was like a huge fan of the original show, and he was like, oh, we'll do this guest spot if you change the plot and like write it so that this character Caitlin, who I was in love with as a teen, will like run off with me. And they did it.
That's
So it's really absurd.
Like, that rocks.
And like rewatching it too, I was like, I feel like there's so many jokes here about like the two of them, and like especially Jason Mewes in particular, like talking about high school girls being hot. It's just a weird. It just aged like so badly.
Wow.
But other on my like little notes here that I wrote like 5 minutes before this. I included other weird celebrity guests that they include, which is Billy Ray Cyrus as a limo driver in like the second season, I think. Keke Palmer as herself. In one of the summer specials, they have like a character have a brief romance with Keke Palmer.
Fascinating.
And another one, which I just watched this episode and it's still really funny, is they had Chaz Bono on as a guest judge of the Battle of the Bands in one episode, just specifically for the reason of having the trans character on the show interact with him. And that plot line is like the character Adam, like his song is stolen by this like rockabilly girl who like he goes on a date with.
Classic.
And yeah, classic. And she just steals his song. You can't trust like a rockabilly Battle of the Bands girl. And then he punches one of her bandmates who like makes fun of him. And then he goes to Chaz Bono and he's like, Chaz, that was fucked up, right? And Chaz Bono's like, transphobia is bad, but punching someone at the Battle of the Bands is worse. So, he's gotta apologize.
Interesting lesson, I feel.
Yeah, it's very
we have a question from the chat also.
Oh yes, I'd love to hear it. I don't have the Twitch up, so
the question from the chat is Degrassi still going?
It's not. They kind of blueballed us because they stopped making new episodes of Next Class in 2016, I think. But they waited like a year and a half or 2 years before officially announcing that it was canceled, which was really, I kind of, you kind of know at that point, but I was still holding out a little bit of hope. I do think there is definitely a possibility it could come back in the future because the formula of it and like the way that characters have children and siblings kind of lends itself like to always being recreated. So I do think there's hope in the future, but if you do want to watch it, it's taken me about a year, I think, on and off of watching it. Like there's a lot of episodes to get through, so you do kind of have an infinite supply. And by the time you finish watching, you'll have forgotten sort of the things that happen at the beginning.
just always be watching Degrassi.
Yeah, it's kind of like an infinite cycle. And like if you're willing to watch Next Class too, like I don't think Next Class is bad. They do include some of the same characters who are in the original and in Next Generation. So like it doesn't feel totally detached. It feels a lot more kind of like it's like a little bit more like heavy on kind of the like social justice lingo and like it's trying to do that thing of like like the opening is like everyone on Instagram and like Snapchat. It's very like trying to be but it's not like it is heavy-handed, but it's not like bad. They have a Gamergate plot, which is really funny.
Oh, is Next Class with the one with Lola?
Yes. Yeah.
I watched Next Class and I cried during the abortion episode.
Yeah, Lola is great. One thing that Degrassi does do really well is abortion. It was one of the first, I think it was the first like show, like teen show to show an abortion on TV. That episode did not air in the US. But that was Manny's episode. And then they revisit it by having another character have an abortion. The other thing Degrassi also does, I mean, it does millions of things clearly, but like for some reason, every event and kind of like thing has to happen in school or after school or on your lunch break. So like Lola literally got an abortion on her lunch break at school. And it's like, why would someone schedule this for time when like, why would someone not just schedule this for a day when they're not in class? Yeah. But like therapy sessions, like police intervention, any kind of like drug-induced episode will happen in school, like literally everything. Just anyway, okay, my time is up, but
thank you so much. You could talk about it you could come on next time and talk more. I love this. Thank you so much.
So many things. I mean, the motto is it goes there, and I think no matter what, it really does go there.
Great way
thank you
Sarah.
So much.
See, you can log out of the Zoom whenever you're ready.